we begin this Sunday morning with corruption at the highest levels. A string of evidence revealed last week about just how hard the FBI tried to take down Donald Trump, regardless of not finding any evidence of Russia collusion. And all the while covering up for Clinton crimes and Biden lies. The FBI paid Igor Danchenko $200,000 to stay on the FBI's payroll for 3.5 years, including during the Trump presidency. Also offering Christopher Steele $1 million to corroborate the made-up attacks against Trump, something he could not do. In addition, 2 FBI analysts testified that they wanted to interview a Clinton operative who was actually planting the Russia story. But they were told by Robert Mueller's team to stand down and not interview Clinton's PR man, Charles Dolan. Joining me right now is Devin Nunes, the man who blew open the Russia collusion live from day one, detailing the scam in 2018 with his Nunes memo, while still the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. He is currently the CEO of Truth Social, which has been the #1 downloaded app on the Google App Store for 48 hours. Devin, good morning to you. Congrats on the App Store.
Hey, thanks a lot, Marie, and it's great to be finally fully open for all the American people and the people in the United Kingdom, but thank you.
I want to talk to you about something you know very well, exactly what went on in this Russia probe and the Igor Danchenko trial. Give us your sense and reaction to the headlines we saw this week that I've just detailed.
Yeah, I think I look at this in 3 major revelations. And the first and obvious one is this new fact that we found that Steele was offered $1 million. Now, this is something that wasn't given to Congress, even though we had subpoenaed way back in 2017 and 18. So when they found out that Steele was lying, did they go to the British government and ask for Steele to be extradited? Or did they? No, they didn't. Instead, what did they do? Even though he's on the payroll, they offer $1 million bounty essentially on Trump's head for him to go and prove something that the FBI already knew was false and was coming from the Clinton campaign. So next up, you have this revelation about Danchenko. Danchenko clearly was working on behalf of the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee. He had been a long-time kind of Democratic operative working in Washington, D.C., and he was the secret source, as you may recall, that the FBI led us to believe that, oh, something could happen, people could die. Well, when they find out that Danchenko is, in fact, lying and not providing information, do they raid his house like they did at Mar-a-Lago and go through, his underwear drawer and pull out documents of Danchenko? No. What do? They bring him onto the payroll of the FBI. Now, Maria, once again, this is something that should have been provided to our committee. We really would have wanted to know that this guy was now on the payroll, and as you pointed out, he then ultimately was paid $200,000. And I think third and finally, what came out of this is finally we get the direct evidence that we've been missing for a long time, that the Mueller witch hunt was in fact a witch hunt that was designed to cover up the involvement of the Democrats and the Clinton campaign. If anyone had ties to Russia, it was them. Yeah. So do they go and investigate Danchenko? No. What Mueller does is he buries it. So essentially what's happened here is Durham has oddly been prosecuting the DOJ and the FBI at the same time that he's prosecuting Danchenko. Yeah. Now, look, I think this is a problem because I'm not sure why is Durham not bringing criminal conspiracy charges. He reports directly to Biden's attorney general. And we know, and just kind of the final point, we know that there are several high-level officials that were involved back in 15 and 16 in this whole conspiracy that are now sitting atop the Justice Department. And one has to begin to ask, why is Durham being allowed to bring the prosecutions that he should be bringing based on all the evidence that we've seen so far in this trial?
So you think that Merrick Garland is putting his hand on the scale and stopping him from bringing these prosecutions?
Yeah, look, and I've said this for a long time, many times on your show, dating back many years, that Democratic republics don't survive if you have a situation where we have a 2-tiered justice system, where it appears that the Justice Department and the FBI are working on behalf of Democrats and targeting Republicans. And so, I don't know if Durham's going to be able to finish his job or not. But one thing that's going to happen is that there's going to have to be a commission that has not been done in a long time in Congress. It's going to have to be created to look at all the malfeasance of the FBI that's not just about the Russia hoax, but something that maybe is similar to the Church Commission, maybe like the 9/11 Commission. You're beginning, because look, if this doesn't happen, the calls to disband the FBI are going to get louder and louder, because half of America cannot live in a system where one party's treated differently than the other.
Yeah. Are there talks underway right now to create a commission to bring in outsiders to investigate the FBI and dismantle this politicization?
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking a lot of calls from folks now, just asking, how do they get to the bottom of this? And one of the challenges that if the Republicans are to gain control, one of the challenges first will be that, that we now are seeing in full light. But if you go back in time, they would constantly say, oh, we can't tell you that because there's an ongoing investigation, we, the Congress. And then they would say, well, you guys don't have the proper clearances. So, I mean, this is going to be the problem, is that the FBI is very clever about hiding in these gray areas and hiding the ball from Congress. So, look, this is a bad situation for the Republicans to be going into, but at least we have the experience, bad experience over the last 5 or 6 years. We know now how to deal with these guys like never before, and it's going to take the full power of the Speaker and the full power of a commission to get to the bottom of what actually happened here and rewrite the course of how the FBI and the justice system should operate in this country.
Real quick, we got to jump. I want to ask James Comer about this. He will have the gavel. He's joining me right after this interview. But real quick, how did this happen? What do you attribute this to? Was this Mueller and Comey, or was this even bigger than that?
I think it's pretty simple, right? You had the Democrats under Obama and Biden that conspired to go out and get President Trump at the time, and Republicans, and they got knee deep in it. They were worried about the Hillary Clinton emails being exposed before the 2016 election, so they decided to frame Trump and try to create an October surprise. And then Trump does the unbelievable and he wins. And that's when they go into full-blown criminal conspiracy. They stand up this sham Mueller witch hunt to essentially hide the ball. And then they successfully hid the ball from Congress for 3 or 4 or 5 years and ongoing by doing these dirty tricks that just continued. So it was a whole cabal. It's clear for the American people to see, and now it's going to be up to a Republican Congress to get to the bottom of what happened.